What's an unsolved mystery that's actually super easy to explain, but nobody likes to say it out loud because the real answer is just boring? Chupacabra. People describe it as some creepy dog-like creature because it is a dog. I once saw a coyote on a trail cam that looked absolutely cursed. Not sure if it had rabies or just some illness, but it looked like something straight out of a horror cartoon. I can totally see how someone would look at that and go, yep, that's a chupacabra. The so-called Battle of Los Angeles. Just 2 months after Pearl Harbor, the US military was in full-on panic mode. One night they opened fire on what later turned out to be a weather balloon. Afterwards, officials acted all mysterious and evasive because A, wartime paranoia, B, they didn't want to admit they had shelled their own city trying to down a floating balloon. Crop circles. People still whisper about aliens mowing art into wheat fields, but nowadays, folks literally hold competitions to make them. It's just fancy lawn art on steroids. My grandma started losing her eyesight because of glaucoma about 20 years ago. That's when she began seeing ghosts. The clearest one was her late husband. She swore he was lying in bed beside her, but she wasn't into anything mystical. She told both us and her doctor about it. Turns out her brain was just trying to make sense of blurred shadows and shapes. It grabbed familiar images from memory to fill the gaps. Wrinkled bed sheets and pillows became her calm, familiar husband. Honestly, this makes so much sense. I think it explains like 98% of ghost stories out there. The Min Min lights. Mysterious little lights seen in remote parts of the Australian outback. So many theories exist, from silly to downright ridiculous. In reality, it's a well-studied phenomenon, mostly just car headlights far away, sometimes hidden behind terrain. The Bermuda Triangle. If you take the same size patch of ocean somewhere else in the world with a similar level of shipping traffic in nearby towns, you'll see the same number of disappearances and weird incidents. There's a great book called The Bermuda Triangle: Mystery Solved by Larry Kusch. He went through every book he could find on the subject, built a database of each supposedly vanished ship and plane, and investigated. Almost every single case fell into one of a few categories. Ship or plane disappeared in awful weather, but in the books they always said the weather was perfect. Ship or plane was reported missing, but then found later. The books conveniently left that part out. There's literally no proof the ship or plane ever existed outside of Bermuda Triangle books. He also noticed that basically any disappearance in the Atlantic was blamed on the Triangle, and sometimes they even included accidents that actually happened in the Pacific. Bigfoot sightings in the US are directly correlated with the local bear population. Bears standing on their hind legs look seriously uncanny. No surprise folks mistake them for some hairy forest cryptid. And if a bear has mange, congrats, you've just spotted a nightmare fuel creature. Same thing with deer that start staggering around on 2 legs. People freak out and scream skinwalkers or werewolves. In reality, it's called chronic wasting disease, CWD. It's a prion disease that messes with their brains, highly contagious. If you ever see a wild animal acting like that, call your local wildlife department immediately and report the location. Most likely, the whole herd needs to be dealt with, and the remains safely disposed of to stop it from spreading. The disappearance of Amelia Earhart. People keep acting like it's some eternal unsolved riddle, but we've basically had the answer for decades. On Nikomaro Island, they found her shoe, her compact mirror, a piece of airplane windshield, and even the jar of anti-freckle cream she always carried. Her last distress call came from that exact area. And get this, just 3 years after she went missing, bones matching her description were found on the island. Yet every couple of years, there's another new expedition to solve the mystery. Honestly, the mystery's been solved over and over again. The USS Cyclops, a US Navy cargo ship that vanished in March 1918 while carrying a load of coal, well, actually manganese ore at the time. People love to call it the biggest ship disappearance in Navy history. Its wreck was never found, so naturally the Bermuda Triangle crowd went wild with theories about aliens and spooky ocean vibes. But if you dig even a little, the real story isn't that mysterious. The ship was designed for coal, but it was loaded with manganese ore, much heavier and denser. The holds weren't full, so the cargo could shift, throwing off balance. It might have been overloaded. Manganese ore can react with steel supports, causing corrosion and weakening the hull. This exact issue was already seen on its sister ship, USS Jason. Another vessel, the Chucky, literally snapped in half in calm weather because of it. Weather reports show the Cyclops may have hit a storm with 30 to 40 knot winds. In that kind of sea, if the bow and stern lift on waves while the middle sags, the ship can literally break apart. And here's the kicker: 3 out of 4 ships of this class, Proteus-class colliers, vanished at sea. The only one that didn't? It was sunk by Japanese planes in WW2. Clearly a design flaw. So when you put it all together, weak design, corroded hull, unstable heavy cargo, plus a storm, the mystery is basically just a shipwreck waiting to happen. Spontaneous human combustion. This mystery blew up during the era when everybody smoked and cheap, ultra-flammable furniture was everywhere. People passed out with a cigarette, stuff caught fire, and voila, tabloid headlines about humans bursting into flames. If it were real, we'd have endless phone videos by now. But no, every case always has a very ordinary cause. I used to be terrified of bursting into flames as a kid. Totally forgot about that until this thread brought it up. Michael Rockefeller. No, he didn't join some secret tribe or get turned into jungle stew. The last time anyone saw him, he was swimming nearly 3 kilometers towards shore after his boat capsized. The current was brutal, sharks were around, and the weather was bad. Even though he was a strong swimmer, he almost certainly died from exhaustion or cramps before reaching land. Ironically, the other 2 guys on the boat managed to flip it back over and reach shore safely. They searched for him immediately, but nothing was ever found. The Yuba County Five. People frame it like some sinister mystery, but really they just got lost, panicked, and made bad survival decisions. All but one of the group had developmental disabilities, and the one who didn't had serious mental illness. Their behavior only looks bizarre if you assume they were making rational choices. They stumbled into a survival cabin with food, heat, and clothes, and still didn't use them. That wasn't a conspiracy, it was proof they weren't capable of handling the situation. Nobody lured them away from their car, nobody was chasing them. They simply weren't able to make the right calls, and that tragically led to starvation, cold, and scavenger animals finishing the rest. Plato invented Atlantis from scratch. He created it as the villains in an unfinished work meant to continue the Republic called Critias. In the Republic, he describes an ideal city-state. In Critias, he wanted to show how such a city would fare in war against its opposite, Persia, i.e. Atlantis. Remember, Athens had just finished a major war with Persia at that time. A key detail many miss, Atlantis was portrayed as a very bad place. Plato was a classic grumpy old man yelling at everything. He hated democracy, foreign contact, including trade for fairness, imperialism, and any innovation. He saw large construction projects as disrespect to the gods, and personal or architectural decoration as mere human vanity. Yet his description of this luxurious cosmopolitan city with amazing architecture and engineering ends up sounding impressive rather than repulsive. Bumblebees. Scientists literally don't know how they fly. According to physics, they shouldn't, but they do using the same basic principles as helicopters. No big breakthrough announcement needed, that's why the media never made a fuss. Elizabeth Allen climbed onto the roof via side door, opened the water tank lid, and drowned. She had mental health issues, likely suffered a seizure. Staff found the lid open, not closed. Conspiracy theorists claimed her death was mysterious. It wasn't. It was a tragic accident during a psychotic episode. Netflix's documentary on the Cecil Hotel even had the technician explain that he closed the lid after finding the body. A simple mistake sparked a wave of wild conspiracy theories, especially hard on the guy wrongly accused. Thankfully, the doc let him speak. Dyatlov Pass, 1959. 9 Russian hikers found dead in the Ural Mountains. Strange injuries, missing eyes and tongues, no signs of a fight. Theories exploded. UFOs, snow yetis, secret government zap-zap devices. But in 2021, researchers concluded it was just a delayed slab avalanche. Snow pressure plus hypothermia caused panic and injuries. The missing soft tissue? Wild animals scavenging. Basically, they got lost in the wilderness, panicked, acted irrationally, and after death, their bodies were scavenged by nature. That's the explanation for most mysterious disappearances in the wild. That spooky last Morse code transmission from a flight, the one with SCTI-AR, people spin it into unsolved pilot mysteries. But in reality, SCTI is Santiago Airport, and AR means over. It was just a totally normal message to air traffic control about where they were headed. The so-called lost colony of Roanoke. Textbooks make it sound like colonists vanished into thin air, but the real explanation is clear and well documented. Governor White sailed back to England for supplies. Before leaving, the colonists told him if they had to move, they'd carve a message saying where. When White finally returned years later, way behind schedule, he found the word Croatoan carved into a tree. That wasn't spooky, it was exactly what they had agreed on. He believed they had simply gone to live with their Croatan allies. There were no signs of a fight, and they had taken their supplies. Later reports showed the Croatan people started having children with blue eyes and lighter skin, which tracks perfectly, but White never got to confirm it. His ship's anchor broke, his crew refused to risk it, and they sailed back to England. That little gap left plenty of room for legends and myths, but originally there was nothing mysterious about it at all. The death ray of Archimedes. Legend says he used giant mirrors to focus sunlight and set Roman ships on fire during the siege of Syracuse. Cool story, except the first written mention of it came centuries after the battle, when every actual witness was long gone. The mirror idea didn't even appear until much later. There's zero real evidence it was ever used in combat. Even Mythbusters tried it twice, and the best result was kinda warm wood. But here's the twist. Archimedes did have a legit super weapon. Surviving sailors wrote about a massive mechanical claw that lifted ships by one end, then dropped them to smash and sink. That's way more believable, and historians think it was basically an ancient war crane with a hook. So yeah, the claw of Archimedes probably existed, but the sun laser death ray, pure ancient fanfiction. Princess Diana's death. Truly a tragic accident. Yet some people are convinced she was killed on purpose because she was allegedly pregnant. Her ex-husband himself told reporters she was careful with contraception. Plus, the driver was proven drunk. Even if Charles was a bad husband, Diana was still the mother of his children, one of whom is the future King of England. He would gain nothing from her death. He already survived the Camilla divorce scandal going public. Why make things worse? Most ghosts in old houses? Yeah, that's just rats. They bang their backs against floorboards, making it sound like footsteps. They scratch inside walls, knock stuff over, set off alarms, even drag small objects from one room to another over days. They can make your pets freak out, set off doorbells, and some can squeak in ways that sound like babies or cats. And since they squeeze through the tiniest holes, you can have dozens in the house without ever seeing one. Basically, you don't have poltergeists, you've got roommates at tail. Thanks for watching. In the comments, share an unsolved history that's actually easy to explain, but people avoid mentioning it because it's boring. Don't forget to check out our other videos. See you.